Welcome to the Richmond Public Schools Distance Learning Modules. In this series, we will learn Grade 8 Mathematics, where we will focus on a different standard each week. This week, our focus is SOL 8.14b, Simplifying Algebraic Expressions. Today, we will focus on simplifying expressions that require the use of the distributive property with a negative factor. Before we get started, you will need a few supplies: your interactive notebook or a few sheets of paper, a pencil or another writing utensil, and your Desmos scientific calculator. Here are the answers to yesterday's practice problems. Please take some time to check your answers and make any corrections. Now we are ready to look at the instructional video for today, which will explain our skill. Before we start, please make sure you have your notebook or your paper handy. Be sure to copy all the notes as the instructor goes through the example problems. The video is also linked in the attached presentation. So today's lesson is very similar to yesterday's lesson. We will simplify expressions with the distributive property. Today, the number we will be distributing will be negative. So our first step, just like yesterday, is to distribute the negative 8. And remember that distributing the negative 8 means that we're going to multiply the negative 8 by each term inside the parentheses. The purpose of distinguishing today's lesson from yesterday's lesson is because the negative number that we're distributing could make some different things happen to our sign, so we want to make sure we practice with that. So here we have negative 8 times m plus, we're using that same operation on the inside of the parentheses, negative 8 times 5, and then we just bring over the minus 9. Our next step, just like yesterday, is to simplify. Remember, simplifying here means that we're going to combine our like terms. Remember that first step where I showed the multiplication, that step you can skip once you get more comfortable with your distributive property. So here I've identified two of my like terms. The 8m, I don't have anything, the negative 8m, I don't have anything to combine with that, so I'm going to just bring that down. And then I have negative 40 minus 9, which is negative 49, and I'll write that as simply minus 49. So in the next example, very similar process. First step I'm going to do is to distribute. I'm going to distribute the negative 7. Now notice that I said negative 7 because that minus is in front. And because I'm looking at that 7 as the first term in that distribution process, I'm going to call it a negative 7. It's almost like you could kind of cover up the two. So notice I bring the 2 over because I'm not using that for anything right now. And so I made that addition plus negative 7 times 3m, and then minus, because that's what's inside of my parentheses, negative 7 times 7. So I have 2 plus negative 21m minus negative 49. And now I need to kind of clean up my signs a little bit so that I can combine any of my like terms. Again, those first two steps can be skipped as long as you understand the math that happens behind there. So you do negative 7 times 3m, you know it's going to give you negative 21m. You can just write minus 21m if you'd like. If not, you can continue to write those two steps in the middle. So once I combine my like terms, I have I have 2 plus 49. That's going to give me 51. And remember, I need to write my variable first. Now that we've learned our skill for today, we will look at some model examples. Please take a moment and copy down the model example, and then we will look at the steps to simplify this expression. Okay, let's look at the steps to simplify this expression. So my first step here is I'm going to distribute my negative 6. The important skill that we're learning today, the process is the same as yesterday, but the really important skill we're learning today is how to deal with our signs, because signs can get a little jumbled when you have subtraction and negatives, and so we want to make sure we understand how to clear those up. So we have negative 6 times 2x, that gives us negative 12x, and then of course I'm going to subtract my 9x, so that gives me negative 21x. And then I just bring down that negative 6 as minus 6 because I don't want to have those double signs. Let's look at model example number 2. Take a moment and write down model example number 2, and then we'll look at the steps to simplify this expression. Okay, let's look at the steps to simplify this expression. So just like our model example number 1, just like our notes and our steps from yesterday, we're going to distribute first the negative 9. And then from here on down, we're going to just simplify. And you'll notice that our expression, when you're simplifying, another important key piece here is that when you simplify, your expression should get a lot less complex. It should get simpler. Please pay close attention to how the signs are changing. We have plus negative, we just make that minus. We have minus negative, we just make that plus. That's going to make things a lot cleaner for us to be able to combine them. And notice that we've combined our like terms. 6x minus 9x gives us the negative 3x. We want to write that first because we want our variable to be first. And then we have 36 minus 10, which gives us positive 26, so we write plus 26. Now here are a couple expressions for you to simplify. Take some time to write down the two expressions and simplify them. We will look at the steps to simplify these expressions shortly. In a few seconds, we'll look at the You Try question A just to see those steps. Okay, let's look at the steps for A. So you just want to check the steps that you see on the screen against your own work. Be sure to make any corrections. Make sure you check your steps and make any corrections. Okay, let's look at the steps for the You Try question B. And those are the steps for question A if you want to look at those. But at the bottom, we're doing question B. So notice here how we have the negative 1y plus 20. And remember that ones normally we do not write. So we're going to look at a better way to write this answer. So we just drop the 1 off because remember we know that the 1 is understood to be there, so we don't need to write it. So a better way to write the answer would be just negative y plus 20. That concludes our lesson for today. During your remaining work time, please complete the practice problems as well as the online practice. The answers to today's practice problems will be in tomorrow's module. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.